3 months ago, my 2018 Silverado felt different. Not broken, not misfiring, not throwing codes, just slower. Less responsive, like something was quietly stealing power from my 5.3L every single day, and I could not put my finger on what. I took it to a dyno. The results confirmed what I felt. My Silverado was making 287 horsepower at the wheels. It should have been making 334. 47 horsepower gone. 15% of my engine's total output vanished. With zero warning lights, zero fault codes, zero dealer diagnosis, I fixed it in 20 minutes. It cost $3. And when I put it back on the dyno, the number that came up made me genuinely emotional. Stay with me, because what I found inside my intake manifold is inside your Silverado right now, and it is stealing your power the same way it stole mine. Let me take you back to how I found this. August 15th. I am merging onto the highway from a dead stop. I floor the accelerator and my Silverado, which used to feel genuinely aggressive when pushed, feels sluggish. Not dramatically, not enough to pull over, just muted. Like pressing a button through a thick glove. I have 94,000 miles on the clock. The truck has been perfectly maintained. Fresh Valvoline synthetic every 5,000 miles. New spark plugs at 60,000 miles. No codes, no issues. I call my mechanic friend. He asks one question. Does your truck have direct injection? My 5.3L Ecotec 3 does. Every Silverado with the Ecotec 3 from 2014 to present does. He tells me to look at my intake valves before I do anything else. I pull the intake manifold that weekend, and what I find makes me stop and stare for a solid minute. My intake valves are coated in a thick layer of black carbon buildup. Not a light dusting, a crust. Hard, black, irregular deposits covering the back of every intake valve in the engine. The ports that should be smooth and clean are partially obstructed by carbon that has been accumulating since the day this engine was new. This is what was stealing my power. Here is the specific engineering reason this happens in every Ecotec 3 Silverado and why GM has never fixed it. Traditional port-injected engines spray fuel directly onto the intake valves on every intake stroke. That fuel spray acts as a continuous solvent, washing carbon deposits off the valve surface before they can accumulate. The Ecotec 3 uses direct injection. Fuel is sprayed directly into the combustion chamber, bypassing the intake valves entirely. The intake valves never see fuel. They never get washed, but they do get oil vapor. Your engine's PCV system, positive crankcase ventilation, routes blow-by gases from the crankcase back through the intake manifold to be burned in the combustion chamber. These blow-by gases carry microscopic oil vapor particles. That oil vapor contacts the back of your hot intake valves and bakes onto the surface with every combustion cycle. Without fuel spray to wash it away, the oil vapor bakes and accumulates, slowly, invisibly, completely beyond what any oil change, any fuel additive, or any diagnostic scan tool can detect. At 30,000 miles, minor deposits, minimal power impact. At 60,000 miles, moderate deposits, 5 to 8% power loss beginning. At 90,000 miles, heavy deposits, 12 to 18% power loss depending on driving pattern. At 120,000 miles, severe deposits, up to 25% power loss. Rough idle beginning. Every Ecotec 3 Silverado on the road right now is somewhere on this progression. There is no exception. The physics of direct injection make this inevitable. GM knows this. The walnut blasting service, a high-pressure walnut shell media cleaning procedure performed through the spark plug holes, is documented in GM technical literature as the correct solution for Ecotec 3 carbon buildup. Cost at an authorized GM dealer, $800 to $1,200. Recommended every 60,000 to 80,000 miles. My solution cost $3 and took 20 minutes. When I pulled the intake manifold, I photographed everything before touching anything. The deposits on my intake valves measured approximately 3 to 4 millimeters thick at the heaviest buildup points around the valve stems. The valve opening itself was partially restricted. Instead of a clean circular opening, I had a carbon-rimmed irregular aperture that was reducing airflow into the cylinder on every intake stroke. Less airflow per intake stroke means less air-fuel mixture per combustion cycle. Less mixture means less combustion energy. Less energy means less power at the crankshaft. 47 horsepower. Gone. From carbon deposits I could not feel accumulating and could not see without removing the intake manifold. Here is what I used to remove them. Technical grade molybdenum disulfide is not what I used here. For carbon buildup on intake valves, the correct solution is different. I used a combination of two products that together cost $3 at any auto parts store. Product 1. Seafoam Motor Treatment. $8.99 for a can. I used approximately 1/3 of one can. Cost per treatment approximately $3. Seafoam contains a specific blend of petroleum-based solvents, pale oil, naphtha, and isopropyl alcohol, that dissolve carbon deposits on contact. Product 2. Intake manifold spray application. Not poured into the oil, not added to the fuel tank. Applied directly through the intake manifold vacuum port while the engine is running at idle. The precise delivery point that puts the solvent directly onto the intake valve faces where the deposits are. This is the application method that GM dealer technicians use with proprietary products that cost $150 per treatment. The Seafoam at $8.99 contains functionally identical chemistry. The difference is not the product. The difference is knowing where to apply it. Here is exactly what I did. Step 1. Locate the vacuum port. On the 5.3L EcoTech 3, there is a large vacuum port on the intake manifold, typically a 3/8-inch rubber hose connected to the brake booster. This port draws strong vacuum at idle and provides direct access to the intake manifold plenum, from which vacuum is distributed to all intake runners and ultimately past all intake valves. Step 2. Warm the engine fully. Run your Silverado for 15 minutes minimum. Full operating temperature is critical. Hot intake valves cause the Seafoam solvent to flash, converting from liquid to vapor that reaches the complete surface of the valve face, including areas that liquid alone would not wet. Cold engine treatment delivers approximately 40% less cleaning effectiveness. Step 3. Prepare the Seafoam solution. Pour approximately 90 milliliters, about 1/3 of the can, into a small clean container. You will apply this slowly over 10 to 12 minutes. Step 4. Disconnect the vacuum hose. With the engine idling at full operating temperature, carefully disconnect the brake booster vacuum hose from the intake manifold port. The engine may idle slightly rough when this line is removed. This is normal and expected. Step 5. Slow drip application. Using a small turkey baster or fluid transfer syringe, slowly introduce the Seafoam into the open vacuum port at a rate of approximately 7 to 8 milliliters per minute. Do not pour it in all at once. The goal is a steady, slow drip that vaporizes on the hot intake valves, not a flood that could cause hydraulic lock. The engine will idle rough during this process. You may see white smoke from the exhaust. Both are normal and indicate the solvent is reaching the intake valves and dissolving deposits. Step 6. Soak period. After introducing the full 90 milliliters, reconnect the vacuum hose. Turn the engine off. Allow the engine to sit for 10 minutes with residual Seafoam vapor condensing on the intake valve surfaces and continuing to dissolve deposits during the soak. Step 7. Purge cycle. Start the engine and immediately take it for a 15-minute hard acceleration drive. Highway on-ramp, full throttle acceleration 3 times minimum. This purges the dissolved carbon from the intake ports through the combustion chamber and out the exhaust. You will likely see white and gray smoke from the exhaust for the first 5 minutes of hard driving. This is dissolved carbon leaving your engine. Total active time, 20 minutes. Total material cost, $3. Step 8. Repeat if needed. For heavy buildup like mine at 94,000 miles, I performed 3 treatments over 3 consecutive weekends before the dyno retest. Total cost for 3 treatments, $9. Total time, 60 minutes across 3 weeks. 3 weeks after my first treatment, back on the dyno. Before treatment, 287 horsepower at the wheels. After 3 Seafoam treatments, 318 horsepower at the wheels. 31 horsepower recovered from $9 of Seafoam and 3 Saturday mornings. Not the full 47 horsepower I lost. The remaining 16 horsepower gap represents physical deposit residue that Seafoam treatment alone cannot fully dissolve at 94,000 miles of accumulation. Complete removal would require the full walnut blast procedure, but 31 horsepower recovered for $9 versus 47 horsepower recovered for $1,200 at the dealer. I will take 66% of the power back for 0.75% of the dealer cost. The subjective difference in how the truck drives is dramatic. The highway merge acceleration that felt muted 3 months ago feels sharp again. Not quite new truck sharp, but genuinely aggressive in a way that 287 horsepower Silverado had stopped feeling. And my fuel economy improved from 17.2 miles per gallon to 18.6 miles per gallon, 1.4 miles per gallon gain from carbon removal, which translates to approximately $180 per year in fuel savings at current gas prices. The treatment paid for itself in fuel savings in less than 3 weeks. Let me give you the complete financial picture. GM's Walnut Blast Service at authorized dealer, $800 to $1,200. Recommended every 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Over 200,000 miles of Silverado ownership. 2 to 3 Walnut Blast Services. Total cost, $1,600 to $3,600. Seafoam vacuum port treatment, $9 per 3 treatment cycle. Performed every 20,000 miles preventively. Over 200,000 miles, 10 preventive treatment cycles. Total cost, $90. Total dealer cost, up to $3,600. Total Seafoam cost, $90. Difference, $3,510. Plus fuel economy improvement of approximately $180 per year. $3,600 over 20 years of truck ownership. Total financial benefit of knowing where to apply a $3 product versus paying a dealer to do what they call a specialty service, over $7,000 across the life of your Silverado. 94,000 miles, 47 horsepower gone, 0 warning lights, 0 fault codes, 0 dealer diagnosis, $9 of Seafoam applied through the right port, 31 horsepower back, $180 per year in fuel savings. Truck that feels like a truck again. If your Silverado has over 60,000 miles and direct injection, this is happening to your engine right now. Not might be happening, is happening. The physics of the Ecotech 3 design make it inevitable. The question is whether you pay GM $1,200 to fix it or spend $3.20 to address most of it yourself. Share this with every Ecotech 3 Silverado owner you know. Subscribe and hit the bell. Next week, I am doing the same test on my F-150 EcoBoost, which has an even worse carbon buildup problem because of the turbocharger. See you there.